Hi, welcome to my video today. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you. Try to keep this one a little slow, a little more casual. Today, I'm going to talk about depression. Yesterday, my video was on kind of how I cope with it, I will say, sort of managing it. And what I'm going to get into in this video is how I actually got rid of it, because yesterday was more of dealing with it on a daily basis, how you can kind of get out of it, and today is more of how you can actually remove the feeling of depression. Before I really get into the point of today's video, just kind of my lesson for it, I feel like I could summarize it by just kind of throwing out the sentences there. Probably only really like 2 or 3 sentences, but got to kind of slowly work into it because there won't be any meaning behind it if I don't kind of build up to it. That's kind of a whole topic for a whole nother video, but I'm trying to like slow down more, because if I just, here's the point, here's the lesson, then it's kind of hard for you to take it back and go apply it. So I'm gonna build up into it. I want to say hi to some of my YouTube family, people who I forgot to mention yesterday. Rebecca from Becca Vlogs, Biscuit Vlogs, and Monkey Bomb 365 Gaming. Be leaving links to you guys in the description. How you guys doing? I didn't forget you guys. Well, I did forget you guys, but now I'm saying what's up. So what's up, guys? Like I mentioned yesterday in my video, I feel like depression's been a thing recently. Like I'm feeling it myself. I feel like maybe my pain body too, like the inner pain I experience is really tied into the world. Lots of times when I feel like I feel a certain way, maybe I'm just giving off that energy, but it seems easier to find other people who are feeling that way. A lot of my YouTube community seems to be feeling that way, where everyone seems to be a little bit down, a little bit depressed recently, maybe frustrated with life. We all got financial struggles, we all got things to deal with, but even if all our problems were removed, let's get into the topic of the video, you still have this you would still have this inner feeling left. Trying to slow it down because I don't want to just throw too much at this at once. Let me try to start off with a sort of an analogy. If you were rich right now, just suddenly rich, like for me, for example, if I was suddenly rich, probably buy a new Jeep, plan out vacations, go on them, try to enjoy my life, look for fun things to do. But I found out recently with the loss of my job, because it just put me home, and I was just kind of forced to just kind of sit there and kind of deal with my feelings, that there's sort of like this inner kind of deep, dark, I call it depression. Some of it I feel like is a stagnation energy. Maybe just an uncomfortable energy that just has been kind of sitting there. And I realized that no matter how good I feel, no matter, because I've had so many days where I feel so great, I'm in what you might call a state, I'm in a good mood, my mind is working, my energy's flowing really well, things are just going well for me. But then I come back home and I'm sitting here with nothing to do, and it's like, why do I still feel like this though? Like I really try to sit down. Cognitive Burnout was talking about in his video earlier that I saw today too, about how he's just really trying to address how he feels and why he feels that way. So I noticed basically that everything I've been through, I still haven't rid myself of this like deep, I want to call it like a dark energy inside of me, like a disgusting energy, just a feeling of discomfort, of like, it's not exactly almost depression. I feel like it relates to depression, but it more of just feels like it's just not good. Like you just don't want to be here. You don't want to feel this. You don't want to experience this feeling. I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. Imagine I tell you to just sit in a room for even just 10 minutes and to do absolutely nothing. Be completely quiet. Try to literally sit there and do nothing and just be stuck with yourself and your thoughts. A lot of people go crazy. Like I actually, kind of a funny tangent, I kind of test this on people, whereas like when we're having a conversation, I won't say something for just a moment. Just a moment. Try it and then watch. I wait to see how long it takes for them to feel like they have to say something, for how they respond to it. It's a good test of how much anxiety you have. How much can you just sit down in a moment and just be okay with it? Enough side tangents, getting more into a topic here. And what I wanted to talk about is, so I'm left with to face this feeling because I don't have work. I'm not in a financial position to be going out. I can't run away from the feeling anymore. You can still run away from the feeling at home by eating lots of food, because it's literally just kind of changes the way how you feel. It changes your biochemistry, especially because that feeling of like, I'm gonna call it right now for this, right? Maybe like disgusted with life or with something that you can't really put your finger on. It's in your stomach. So just throwing food in there, it's gonna change the way your stomach feels, and but it's kind of just like putting it down. It's putting it to the side. It's still gonna sit there. Something to really kind of understand, to really take all this home, is that your feelings in your bodies, they can go away, done and handled the right way. But when you don't handle them the right way, and by right way, I guess maybe it's even just a natural human way to deal with an emotion, they can literally just sit there forever. And it's really kind of the whole point. Now I'm going into a circle, coming full circle, is like now I'm stuck home and I have to deal with how I feel. So I'm going to talk about in this video how I deal with, how I dealt with it, and how I sort of removed this parasite from my stomach. And it's not completely gone, but I really kind of forced myself to remove a lot of it yesterday, and I honestly feel much better, and we're going to get into that. So something I would like to say, and I'm kind of like holding back on saying this, I'm doing it kind of slowly, inching my way into this, because there's a really powerful practice that you've heard of, but most likely you've never done it before, just because most people haven't done it. It's not meditation this time. Definitely great for anxiety, but we're talking about your feelings and your emotions today. So a great, just powerful practice. And I'm really tiptoeing my way into this, because I know this is one of those things that I say and most people just aren't going to do it. So maybe if I at least explain it and I sell it to you a little bit more, I might get one more person to consider trying this. I'm going to say too that you're not going to die. This isn't going to kill you. If you try this, your body is going to do everything to convince you that you're dying. It's going to trick you into thinking you're dying. It's going to make you think you're dying. And that's what's good about it. That's why it works, is because it puts you in a position where you're forced to face those inner feelings, those inner demons, and only by facing them head on can we actually get to the point where we start to remove them from ourselves. Take a moment, calm myself, recenter myself. Some of you, this might not hit that hard, but I know some of you, especially you dealing with depression issues, this is gonna be a hard pill to swallow. Fasting. I know, right? It's like all that build up for me to tell you to fast, but I got to do the build up so you might actually try it. I'm gonna recommend fasting as a way to sort of remove the parasite of just inner depression, inner turmoil, inner grief, any bad feelings. It could even be anger, just as a way to really get engaged with your stomach. And that's not necessarily just to stop you from avoiding it, because when you start to get hungry, you're not even going to be really hungry. Because I did this yesterday and I paid really close attention to, was I truly hungry or did I just want to eat? Now that's a good question to ask yourself, because you might be like, oh, I didn't eat all day, I'm hungry. And I realized it wasn't even that I was hungry, it was that my mind and my body was creating a feeling inside of me that was similar to hunger. As weird as that sounds, it's like your mind is a survival instinct. It wants to tell you to go eat food. And I'm trying to tell you right now to take at least one day off of eating. Now I'm not telling you to not drink. Drink plenty of water. Obviously don't drink soda, juice. Try to stick to water. Some tea would be nice. Still keep yourself alive, still keep yourself flowing and with energy. But the reason I'm telling you to try fasting is because it's uncomfortable. it's discomfortable. It's not an enjoyable experience. It's not something you want to do. It's not something you enjoy to do. It's something that your body's literally going to try to convince you to not do. And I mean that in a literal way. It makes no logical sense. But your body can create emotions inside of you to try to push you into a specific direction that it wants, and it can trick you into doing something, making you think that you actually want to do that. So by fasting, at least take a day to do it, you're gonna be left stuck there, just sitting there. You're home most likely, maybe you go out, but you're gonna be left sitting there with this discomfortable feeling in your stomach. You're gonna find that discomfort, you're gonna find that uncomfortableness, that disgusting feeling, that negative energy, that depression, the greed, maybe even some anxiety, whatever emotion you're feeling, because it might vary from person to person what exactly that feeling is like, but you're gonna basically be left to face it. And now there's two parts to this. So the first part, I'm basically trying to push you into facing it head on, to engaging with it, to experiencing it, to try to get you to not run away from it, and this is what that fasting is going to help you do. Now the second part to this is to embrace it. You know, your mind, I gotta pause for a moment. Sorry about that. So basically, I want you to experience the emotion, and then the part two is really to accept it. Now this is where your mind kind of comes into play, because your mind, when you have this nasty feeling in your stomach, the first level is getting past it physically and emotionally, and now we're trying to get past it mentally, kind of the next step. And then, you know, eventually you get into being with it spiritually, but that's sort of when you've kind of lifted the curse from yourself that you've been carrying around for years. So the next level is to accept it, and the reason the mind is really important in this level is because your mind is going to make a judgment about it. It's going to be a really simple judgment, so subliminal that you're not even going to notice it. You won't realize you're judging it. I mean that really literally. It's going to be something as simple like, oh, this is bad. Oh, I don't like how this feels. This is uncomfortable. This is depression. You know, I kind of labeled it in the beginning, but I try to do it without judgment, like just really honest, straightforward. But in the second part, I'm telling you to try to not label it. Don't try to judge it. If you let your mind tell you anything about this emotion, then you're not going to be able to remove it. You might actually amplify the feeling. Not to be afraid, because if you've already done the first step and you're already engaging it and you're already facing it, you're already on the path to trying to actually remove this nasty emotion inside of you. But I need to really kind of explain too how to remove it, and it really comes to how you're thinking about it. The best thing to do is to not think about it at all, to just kind of sit back and accept it, sort of like you're sitting back on a couch and you're accepting that you have a beer in your hand, or you have a pizza in your hand, or you have an Xbox controller in your hand. These are just things that come to mind for me. For you, maybe it's a book, maybe it's music player in your hand. Like, you're just kind of sitting back and you're accepting that you're holding this negative feeling inside of you. It's weird because I call it negative, and that's really a label. It's really a judgment. And the important key to the second step, which is, I mean, it's really just a two-step process. The first one, embracing it, and then the second one is like accepting it, or living with it, not putting any kind of judgment on it, not calling it bad, not thinking you shouldn't feel this way, not thinking that this isn't a good feeling, anything of that sort. I mean, there's an infinite amount of thoughts you can potentially have, and I basically want you to not put, I mean, you're gonna think, so you're gonna think. That's kind of like a default. It's kind of hard to not think. If you can not think and just focus on the feeling, that's really the best way to go about this. That's how you're really gonna remove it. And it's really easy though to sort of remove the thoughts if you just focus all your attention how it feels. But you're only going to be able to focus all your attention how you feels if you're not judging it as being bad, if you're not labeling it, if you don't necessarily have a problem with it. And now the reason these 2 steps are important, because it's basically how you remove any experience in your body. Now it's kind of complicated because I'm trying to explain it by using a negative emotion. So let me talk about a positive emotion. Let's say you feel happiness. Do you judge the happiness? Do you think about the fact that you're happy? Because honestly, for me and a lot of people, I mean, in my work might be a universal truth. When you start thinking about it, labeling it, judging it, even with happiness, you might start to lose some of that happiness. And that's when that fear comes. It's like, oh, how long am I going to stay happy? How long is this feeling going to last? How long am I going to feel good? But when you're truly in like a carefree, happy state, you sort of like just sit back in it, you experience it, you feel it, you enjoy it, you don't label it, you don't judge it, and then the feeling just kind of moves on its own. And then you're sitting back like, oh, now I'm stuck with depression, or maybe anxiety, any sort of negative emotion, just in general. And then basically trying to get you to recreate that for the negative emotion. I feel like this video's gone on for a while, but I'm kind of trying to just break it down. Like I said, I could have just summarized it in 2 points, to kind of just sit there and experience the feeling and to accept it, just embrace it in its fullness. But I'm kind of just explaining it to you slowly so that you might actually try it, you might actually do it. It's sort of hard to put this to words because it's not really a logical thing. Like I said, you don't want to put too much thought behind it. It's a bodily experience. It requires you kind of getting out of your head. Like if we imagine your focus is a little ball and it's in your head bouncing around with all your anxiety, and I'm asking you to try to take that ball and shove it down into your stomach and feel all those bad feelings you have there without any judgment. And that one is so key. I'm trying to really explain that one because the judgment, like I said, it's not going to be obvious judgment. It's going to come subliminally, it's going to come subconsciously, it's going to come casually, it's going to come in a way that you wouldn't think about it. So that's really like a double negative. I feel like it's like you're going to have a thought that you're not thinking about, but understanding that thoughts just kind of pop in your head all day, all night, all the time, just doing what it wants to do. You know, they're just having a little party in your head and you're trying to feel good, you're trying to have a good life, and they won't leave you alone. So I want you to accept how you feel. Accept the thoughts in your head too. Don't try to resist them, don't try to fight them. Vast, sit in that dark pit of emotion. It might be easier if I just kind of explain what I literally did. I basically, I did all this yesterday, I was fasting. You know, I kept feeling all this feeling in my stomach. I didn't feel good. It was so bad. It was just like, why do I even feel like this? What is this feeling? Where is it coming from? What is this? So then I decided, you know, because I understand I've had bad feelings. I've had trauma in my past. I knew how to get rid of them. So now I'm trying to apply the same technique to removing the parasite of depression. It's something I actually did while I was fasting, while I was feeling all this negative, just dark energy. Hope I could get this good on camera. I have a bench. I don't know how this is gonna look, but basically I have a bench in my house, and I literally, while all this like nasty feeling was in my stomach, I just laid down on the bench. And I put more pressure into my stomach, and I just really put more pressure and more pressure and more pressure, and I just accept how bad I felt. That's really the key, is I accept it. Pick up the camera. I accept it that I don't feel good right now, and it's really, I'm beating around this, like I'm trying to hit it from a lot of different angles. Because you're going to have thoughts in your mind that are running by, that are trying to get you to not accept that fact that you feel bad. You're basically telling yourself it's not okay to feel bad. But then you want to tell yourself it's okay to feel good. And life just life sometimes. You can't really pick or choose what's gonna happen in life. You're gonna have bad situations, you're gonna have bad times, you're gonna have bad moments, you're gonna have stress, you're gonna have problems, you're gonna have troubles. And a big kind of idea in my video is that it's not about there's one permanent solution to really removing all your problems. It's really just about managing your problems. And if you can at least follow my guidelines, my words that I try to set out for you in this video, you can at least try to remove some of that negative feeling so you can learn how to at least manage it. And you know, it might even be a daily struggle for you to try to remove some more of it every single day, and there might always be more of it. But like I said, honestly, I feel so much better now. Looking back at it now, I'm like, why did I even feel so bad yesterday? It's like, I don't even know why. Because I removed the bug from my stomach. And I basically kind of wrap up this video, I removed the bug sort of the same way you would deal with a happy emotion, where you kind of just experience it, embrace it, and you have no problems with it. And this is just what my body feels right now. It's kind of the same idea. You're just like, this is the negative emotion that's in my body. I'm gonna feel it, I'm gonna be one with it, and that's literally all it takes. Because if you can just try to understand this, slow down, I gotta slow down myself, I gotta slow down. But if you can just kind of take this all in, that you need to experience the feeling, embrace it, and accept it, it sort of then just kind of removes itself from your body. You don't necessarily, there's not really a third step. It's so tricky and it's so hard though, because getting down these first two steps, I can try to explain to you logically 1,000 different ways, but like I said, it's a bodily experience. It's something you have to do inside of your body, where you have to find that emotion in your stomach and just be one with it. And there's also something you gotta do in your mind, that you gotta realize, you gotta catch when those judgments are coming up about the emotion, and sort of try to, I mean, in one sense, I wanna say rid yourself of them, but that's like kind of force. It might be easy, like every time you get a thought, just any thought at all, go back into your body. I'm gonna pause. Sorry about that, I said that already too. I should have just kept going. But, you know, I'm just human. Sometimes I still get awkward when people walk by when I'm trying to shoot a video. What I was trying to say though, about dealing with it mentally, sort of the first step kind of helps with that. And basically, like I'm telling you, not to attach a thought to it, because if you start thinking these judgment thoughts, these negative thoughts, anything of that sort, then what happens is you may amplify that negative feeling, and that negative feeling may amplify thoughts, and that's when you get in a negative thought loop, a negative thought spiral. We've all been there. But what I wanted to try to tell you is that if every time a thought comes in, instead of trying to just rid yourself to it, because don't try to just force it out, just, in a weird way, don't think about it. Go back into your body. You get a thought, go back to that disgusting feeling. You get a thought, go back to that feeling. You get a thought, go back to that feeling. You get a thought, go back to that feeling. It's just every single time a thought comes in, I want you to go back to that feeling. Now, this is actually going to do two things. This is actually going to start processing those thoughts to help sort of remove them from your skull and not have them be so much of a burden on you. And then every time you embrace that feeling, you also remove the judgment. That's going to help you process that emotion. And if, like I said, if you can start trying to follow the picture I'm trying to paint here, if you can start looking for this bodily experience, basically that's it. Every time you get a thought, you go back to that feeling. That's basically it. Every time you get a thought, I'm going to say it again, you go back to the feeling. I got a thought, oh, my stomach, my thought stomach. And don't let the thoughts trap you. And if they do trap you, if you get lost in it for like 5 minutes, you're thinking, you're like, oh, I was supposed to focus on the feeling. Just go back to the feeling. And essentially, this is what meditation is. And I'm basically just trying to explain to you a technique that it's simple yet complicated at the same time, but if you can grasp it, you can start processing your emotions that have been stuck in there, and you'll even at the same time start processing thoughts you might have stuck in your mind. So yeah, that's my nice little video for today about actually removing the parasite of depression, or just honestly removing the parasite of any negative emotion. You can use this in trauma. It's sort of the same thing. I have another video that's sort of a similar idea. Basically, I'm gonna leave it on that point too. That's really kind of the basic gist of it, that you want to find that feeling inside of you and you want to zero in on it. Every time your brain tries to catch you into a thought, don't focus on the thought. Go back into focusing on that bad feeling and just keep bringing your attention, your awareness, and your focus onto that feeling, and then just watch how you sort of, it's gonna just, you don't even have to do anything at that point. If you can just bring your awareness to intention to it, then you're going to start processing that emotion, you're going to start removing that emotion, and you're going to start living a better life. Hit that subscribe button if you want to let me help you live a better life. And have a wonderful life, guys.